everybody, it's Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. 2,500 point battle. Lord Tremendous, that's me, versus Supreme Sorcerer Angry Guy of the Dark Elves. Uh, Real quick, before we get into this game, my opponent, hasn't played this game in 3 years. Believe it or not, he was one of the guys that actually taught me how to play the game, as crazy as that sounds. But yeah, he stepped away from the game shortly after 7th edition came out, with a lot of people that did. He's recently gotten back into it. In fact, most of this army is bought off of people that have gotten out of the Dark Elves over the past week or so. So yeah, this was more or less a practice game, but he told me to come at him full force, and he told me to record it and do a battle report. Out of respect, I did, because, well, he's an angry guy, and I don't like to make him angry. But, no, I'm kidding. He asked me to do it. I don't have a problem with it, so we did, and this is the results. So don't get too, hopped up or on a crate or anything like that, like, gonna rant about the game or anything like that. I'm coming clean now. This is more of a training game than anything else, kind of like getting him back into it, but it was a baptism by fire. So sit back, relax, and get ready to watch it for fun. This is my list. This is the list I've been talking about in the other battle reports. I put this one together using a lot of different forums and people's suggestions and ideas and just random voices in my head giving me ideas. And so here's what I came up with. My general is a Demon Prince, Lord Tremendous. He's back. He's still marked Tzeentch, Chaos Armor, Charm Shield, Dragonbane Gem, Other Trickster Shard, the Demon Blade, Soul Feeder, and Scaled Skin. Really, he's the exact same kit as my old Demon Prince from like the Alamo GT list, only he doesn't have wings and he doesn't have any wizard levels. So he's dirt cheap. He's 375 points as opposed to 550 points that the old Lord Tremendous used to be. The reason I went with that is because I want to keep what I've learned from all my other games is that I want to keep my combat character, and my magic characters, my magic characters. That way, if one dies, it doesn't affect multiple phases. So, it's bad enough when I lose my Demon Prince, I lose my General, but now at least I still have a magic phase worth talking about. Speaking of my magic phase, Ashicus is back as a Sorcerer Lord, a level 3 Sorcerer Lord, with nothing but the Skull of Catan, and now he uses the Lore of Shadow. I love this kit. It's bare bones. It's like 250 points for this guy, the way he's kitted out, but he's a Sorcerer Lord. He's basically a Chaos Warrior unit champion with magical abilities, and the Skull of Catan, which is definitely one of my favorite items. And with the Lore of Shadow, I have underestimated this list. Its use potential against my opponents. I know against me, it's like, oh god, I hate the Withering and Enfeeble Foe, but I love using it on opponents. So this kit is really cool. I like that Ashicus is back. I like that my Demon Prince is back because I missed using that model. And I won't lie to you. I mean, while I'm recording this, my wife is listening to this, so just to let you know, I do have a small gun to my head, but she was a little upset with me when the Demon Prince got shelved. So. And so yeah, I was a little upset with it too. I'm really glad the Demon Prince is back. I know a lot of people like the fact that I was using a Chaos Lord. Well, sorry, I don't got to sleep next to you at night. I got to sleep next to my wife, and if it can make her happy and me happy, then I'm just gonna have to bring him back and suffer through using a Demon Prince. I know, the sacrifices I make for my marriage, right? She's not amused at all. My hero special choices are my Exalted Hero, Tardum the Herald of Tzeentch. He's still marked Tzeentch. He's my BSB. He's on an unbarded demonic mount. He's got a great weapon, Talisman of Preservation, and Third Eye of Tzeentch. He's as badass as I can make him and as watered down as I can make him. And I still love this guy. I really do. I've got my other Exalted Hero, Lady Elizabeth, with the Mark of Tzeentch, Chaos Steed, Shield. She's got the Sword of Change still, and you know what? I just really like the sword. I like the concept of getting spawn for killing something in a challenge or killing a monster. I like free spawn. I love 50-point free rare choices, and it's just a cool little trick. I did lose the Chalice of Chaos and gave her the Iron Curse icon and the Luck Stone instead. The Iron Curse icon makes the Knights even more survivable to shooting, and the Luck Stone makes her more survivable, so it works out. Last but not least is I have my Chaos Sorcerer, Fune the Flame Warper, and he's Mark Zinch. He's a level 1 wizard, that is not a typo. He's on a Disc of Zinch. He's got the Enchanted Shield, the Talisman of Protection, a Chaos Familiar, and he uses Lore Zinch. And this is my new glass cannon. He's level 1 because when you have 3 hero characters in a Warrior Chaos list, every point counts. I think my hero choices are maxed at 625, so making Fune a level 2 is harder, as well as kitting him out with stuff to keep him alive. So with Mark Zinch, level 1, the Chaos Familiar gives him 2 spells, the Talisman gives him a 5-up, the Enchanted Shield with the disc gives him a 1-up, 5-up. He's very survivable for a caster. And with the Lore Zinch, I love the Lore Zinch, I really do. So I'm not even going to apologize for it. He's staying. My core choices have changed slightly. My unit of Chaos Warriors is now a unit of 20 Chaos Warriors, and I've named them Zinch's Scorchers. They're still Mark Zinch with a full command, hand weapon shield, and the Banner of Eternal Flame. The only thing is changed is I've lowered their unit size by 4. I needed the points in order to make them in order to flesh out the army a little bit. And to be perfectly honest with you, the big old brick of 24 is starting to just be a huge point sink, especially when I lose the unit to fleeing or Iron Guts or random we forgot to wear our armor today stuff. So lowering them down to 20 makes them, I don't know, almost 100 points cheaper and allows me to put points where I need them in order to make my list more interesting. Speaking of which, I have 5 Chaos Warhounds that are completely naked, and as we all know, that's just a throwaway unit. They stand in front of the big brick and redirect them or just get in the way. I have a unit of 5 Forsaken, Those Who Roam, with the Mark of Slaanesh. And number 1, I love these models. Absolutely love the Forsaken models. With Mark of Slaanesh, they have Swift Stride, and I decided to bring them along as support for my knights to get them into combat. They're frenzied, so they're good in combat. The Swift Stride makes it so that if they do charge something, they have a really good chance of getting hold of it because they're movement 6. Their 4-up armor makes them as reliable as anything with Chaos armor. And you know what? With the D3 plus 1 attacks and a random special effect, granted it could be always strikes last, but for the most part, 5 out of 6 of the choices are pretty good. I would have a big old brick of 20 of these guys, but honestly, I think they're better as chaff or like flanks deniers, stuff like that. But I've decided to use them as support for Lady Elizabeth's unit, and well, you'll see how that works out. I also have a unit of 10 Chaos Marauders, Ashikis's Roadies. There you have the Mark of Slaanesh. There you have a Banner Musician, Light Armor, and Shields. I have these guys as basically a bunker for my level 3 Sorcerer, Ashikis. Hence their name. They're Slaanesh so they don't flee. They have a Banner and a Musician so that if they do flee by my choice, they have an easier time to rally, and the Banner for Fortitude scenarios. Light Armor Shields makes them more survivable. And of course, my chariot, the Vessel of Change with the Mark of Zinch. I had to drop Orcish Elegance, but I added in the Forsaken, so it balances. Speaking of special choices, I have 5 Chaos Knights, Elizabeth's Honor Guard, Mark of Zinch, Banner Musician, Ensorcelled Weapons, Blasted Standard. No change there. And of course, my rare choice, the Mutalith Vortex. Gotta love the beast. And yes, I did that right in front of my wife, and she busted up laughing. So if you hear, that was not canned laughter. That was my wife mocking me. My opponent's list. Also, let me say this real quick before I get into his list. He had Hellebron in this list. Running his, he has a cauldron. And I had no problem with it because it was a friendly game, but in our tournaments we don't typically allow Lord level special characters because most GTs we go to don't, and we try to match GTs I guess comp as closely as we can so that every game we play is in a way we're practicing for the future GTs. He didn't know that at the time, and so when I told him, hey, that's cool, just so you know though, in our tournaments they're not allowed because in most GTs they're not allowed. And although I told him he could feel free, it's a friendly game, I was kind of excited to fight against Hellebron. I want to see how it would do. He decided against that because he wants to prepare to come to the GTs and everything, hopefully with us. And so he switched his list out at the last minute. That's why this one's from memory. It was more or less paper and pencil written down real quick in kind of a frantic dash to readjust his list. So not an optimal list. So here's what he had. From memory again, I might have some of this wrong. He had a Supreme Sorcerer as his as his general. He was a level 4 wizard, Talisman of Preservation, Sacrificial Dagger, and Allure Dark Magic. His heroes, he had Talaris Dreadbringer, the first Drake or whatever. He was obviously a bit of a contention point. Well, let me rephrase that. He was something I was worried about because I'd never faced him, and anytime I face a special character, I give him the attention he deserves. He had a Master, who was his BSB, had the Armor of Destiny, a great weapon, and the Sea Dragon Cloak. I'm pretty sure that's right. If I'm wrong, well, you know what? Sue me. I don't care. And then he had a Death Hag on the Cauldron of Blood, and I think she had the Chillblade, maybe? I think that might be wrong, but I don't remember. Hey, man, if you're watching this and you want to put it in the comments section, please do. If not, well, then she had the Chillblade, and nobody can ever tell me otherwise. His core choices were a unit of 20 Bleak Swords with Musician and a Unit Champion. They were basically his bunker for his Supreme Sorceress. He had a unit of 20 Witch Elves with full command. I don't remember if they had a magic banner or not. They probably did. I don't remember. And he had 2 units of 5 Dark Riders with Musicians, Bows, and Shields. His special choices were a huge brick, a massive brick of 40 Executioners. It was awesome. Awesome models. To see 40 of them with a cauldron around them, that was amazing. They had a full command and the war banner. He had 2 bolt throwers, and then for his rare choice, he had the Charybdis, or however you said, the Kardashian, 5 warlocks with musician, and a Medusa. These are my spells: 3 from Shadow, 2 from the Laura Zinch, and I, of course, the Meatless Spell. These are his spells. I think these are all from Dark Magic, and of course he had the spells for his warlocks. And here's deployment. As you can see, he did pretty much what you would expect. The warlocks are on a flank. All of his infantry are in the middle, with his Kardashian and his fast cav over on his other flank, just basically going to try to swoop around. I did very similar. Unfortunately, I put my Forsaken down before he put down his warlocks, because I was going to send the Forsaken after the warlocks. But that didn't work out, so I put Fune down to go after the Warlocks. Even with their 4-up ward, he was the best situated to dance around them. And with a little luck, if the Warlocks just weren't worth going after, I could send Fune after the Bolt Throwers. Meanwhile, my BSB, Beast, Warriors, Dogs, Chariot, and Demon Prince were going to go and deal with his infantry the best they could. And I had the Forsaken and the Knights ready to deal with his left flank, because I figured, especially with the Blasted Standard, I could ignore his fast cav, maybe get lucky and hit him with my Forsaken. And I wasn't sure if I was going to send Lady Elizabeth's Knights into the Kardashian, or if I was going to send a Demon Prince. But you'll see what happens there. This is my opponent's right flank. Those units of cold ones are actually Dark Riders with musicians. There's his Kardashian right there, very cool model, as well as Ugly Chick, his Medusa. Here's his center. Right there on our left is his Bleak Swords with his Supreme Sorcerer, his general in there. There's that huge brick of 40 Executioners with Talaris and his BSB attached, as well as his Cauldron with his Death Hag. Right next to them is his unit of Witch Elves, and behind them on the hill are 2 Reaper Bolt Throwers. And of course his left flank consists of 5 Warlocks, which is probably the coolest unit that they have. This is my right flank. Yes, that is a soda right next to Fune. My center consists of, right to left, my BSB, the Beast. My warriors, right in front of the warriors, are my dogs. Right next to the dogs is my chariot, and of course Lord Tremendous, my Demon Prince. Water down. Ignore the wings, they're vestigial. They're vestigial. He can't fly. And my left flank. There's my knights with Lady Elizabeth and my new unit of Forsaken. This top of turn 1 after movement. Believe it or not, I actually got to go first, which was kind of exciting. And so I did. I just ran everything forward. There was no real point in being clever. I did try to be a little slick with my Demon Prince and put him behind that rock there, so if they could see him, which I'm pretty sure they could, His bolt throwers would have to go with long range and hard cover. He is not a large target, so he gets that. And I also decided that I want to send him up against the Kardashian because I figured he had the best chance against him. Ashika's unit comes up just a little bit to get in the better range for his hexes. The Forsaken and the Knights come up a little bit to try to pull out the Dark Riders a little bit. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Magic is a wash, and shooting isn't worth mentioning because there was none. So we go into bottom. We go into combat. We go into bottom of round one, and he moves. And for the most part, his warlocks just run up the side to go and harass the beast and everything like that. His Dark Riders come over to do what Dark Riders do best, and his Kardashian, seeing what the Demon Prince is trying to do, runs away, which I thought was kind of funny. Meanwhile, his executioners move to kind of get a hold of the BSB. The Witch Elves kind of do the same thing. Really, he's just adapting to what my movement was. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. His executioner brick failed to charge on my BSB. He needed a 9, and I got lucky that he didn't make it. He gets Soul Blight and Word of Pain off on my BSB. I let Soul Blight go off because he rolled 2 5s and a 6, but I tried to stop Word of Pain and failed miserably. So he got that one off. So my BSB is hurting. -1 strength, toughness, weapon skill, and ballistic skill. His shooting phase is just destroyed now. Over here, his one unit that is not Cold Ones, remember that is Dark Riders, and they shoot at my knights. I know they don't look like knights. My wife grabbed my knights up so she could continue painting them. The Marauders have taken their place as spot holders. Don't even say it. Don't say it. But yeah, my blasted standard. I roll a 1, so now that's strength 6. My opponent was thrilled when he saw that. But in the end, he ended up wounding me 4 times, but luckily I was able to save 2. That could have been a lot worse. I ended up losing 2 knights anyway, but I'm going to blame that on the Marauder models. Over here, Ugly Chick takes a pot shot at the dogs and kills one, which, that's expected, I guess. And the bolt throwers take a pot shot at the BSB and get a wound through on him, so that sucks. Here's top of 2 after movement, and as you can see, for the most part, there's only been a little bit. The Knights are able to march, and they zoom past everything. The Forsaken move to put some pressure on his other Dark Riders. My Demon Prince kind of sneaks around the cave a little bit. I want to hit the Bleak Swords, or the Medusa, or the Kardashian, but I have to rely on him being there next turn. Meanwhile, Ashkus' unit moves up a little bit to get his spell off on some stuff. I want to try to enfeeble the Kardashian so it doesn't charge my Demon Prince. And the Warriors and the Beast move up while my BSB makes a charge into the Witch Elves. I believe my BSB... I'm sorry, I believe my Beast and my Disc Caster tried to charge the Witch Elves as well, but they both failed their charge, so... There's a better picture of Tardum hitting the ladies. And during my magic phase, I'm able to push through the enfeebling foe and lowering his strength by 3. And that's huge because it's going to make him strength 4 now, and it's going to stop him from charging the Demon Prince or doing really anything with him until he dispels that spell. So I was really happy about that. Plus it's a rip, so he's got to waste dice in order to try to get rid of it, which is even better. That was pretty much it. So we go into combat, and the BSB does pretty well. He kills a handful of the ladies. I think he kills 3, but they put a wound through back on him. They find a soft spot and they stab it. So yeah, Tardum gets hurt just a little bit, and I can't remember if I win this combat or not, but bottom line is we stay. So here's bottom of 2 after movement, and his Dark Riders surround the Knights because now that he knows how that blasted standard can fail me, he's all for it. And meanwhile, his Kardashian runs away from the Demon Prince because he's strength 4 and my opponent's not an idiot. The dogs run up, or I'm sorry, his Medusa runs into the dogs that were trying to block the Executioner unit from doing anything. And his Warlocks pretty much stay in place. They just turn a little bit to try to harass the Mutalith. During his magic phase, he's able to get the big Word of Pain off on my BSB, and I do try to stop it, and I fail miserably. So now he's -1 to strength, initiative, weapon skill, and ballistic skill. And so then we go into combat because his shooting is actually a wash, and she's easily able to kill the dogs without having to run them down. But she's frenzied, so she has to overrun, and she ends up right in front of the Mulith, blocking his charge onto the Witch Elves. In combat over here, Tartan begins to take this a little bit more serious. I think he kills 4 of the Witch Elves in this combat. I win combat. They're steadfast, which is fine. They're no longer frenzied, and yeah, he doesn't take any wounds, which is good because he's only got 1 left. So here's top of 3 after movement. And if I remember correctly, my chariot tried to charge the warlocks and failed. Ended up in the forest. I did pass my dangerous terrain check, thank God. My beast gets into the ugly chick, and he's just going to try to face stomp her into the ground. Fune, he gets the glory for this turn. He needed a 10 to hit the damn bolt thrower, the closest bolt thrower. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Worst comes to worst. I don't make it. And he makes it. I rolled a 10 exactly. I mean, granted, he has Swift Stride. I rolled 3 dice. But yeah, I rolled a 6 and a 4 and a 1. So he made it with exactly what he needed. I was thrilled. And my Demon Prince slams into the flank of the Executioners. He needed like an 8 to do it or something like that, and he made it. So really good round for charges. I missed 1, and I'll take it. Here's a better picture of Lord Tremendous slamming into the Executioners. He's so happy to be back in the list, he's going to take it out on Elves. And let's just take a minute to look at this unit. That's 40 Executioners with Talaris, a BSB, a Death Hag, and a Cauldron of Blood. That is a cool unit. Okay, I'm done. There's the beast into the ugly chick, and yeah, he's just going to try to face stomp her as best he can. And there's Fune going for the kill, trying to take out his shooting phase so it doesn't, pelt me anymore. During my magic phase, I get Enfeebling Foe off on the Executioners because the Kardashian is no longer a threat where he's currently at. Yeah, you could get a hold of Fune, maybe, but you know what? I'm willing to use Fune in order to deviate the Kardashian away from my Demon Prince and my Mutalith. So, yep, I take Enfeebling Foe and I get it off on the Executioners, and now, even with their fancy great weapons, they're only Strength 4, which is huge. Right here, we go into combat. The Mutalith is able to put a wound or 2. I think he puts 2 wounds through on the Medusa. He takes 2, but with charge and a flank, I win by 2. The general is too far away, but he does get a reroll needing snakes. Doesn't make it. The Medusa flees. He gets away, or she gets away, and the Mutalith stops 1 inch away from the BSB, but now the Medusa's out of range for the general. She needs Snake Eyes to rally. She's not coming back. So I'll cut to the chase. She never shows back up in the game. The BSB, once again, I think it kills 4 more of the Witch Elves. 4 or 5 more. I can't remember exactly. They're still steadfast, of course, but I'm winning this combat, so that's what's really important. Right here, the Executioners put up one hell of a fight. I think I killed 3 or 4 of them. Which isn't great, but it's not terrible. I win combat. They're steadfast with a reroll. They're not going anywhere. But bottom line is, the Demon Prince is back. My Chaos Lord would have just flubbed and fled. I believe actually this one might have been a draw, or he won by 1. Either way, it doesn't matter. We don't go anywhere. His Executioners turn to face him and take away my flank. He did realize that by doing this, he exposed his flank to my warriors, but he figured with Killing Blow and Talaris and everything like that, he would just eat their faces. And it wasn't a terrible idea or tactic or strategy, but exposing his flank to the Executioners was a bigger carrot than I could resist. You know what I mean? And over here, Fune takes out the throwers, no problem. He did have some help from his disc. But yeah, he kills him, overruns into the next one because it's like 3 inches away. And so yeah, the bolt thrower shooting phase is pretty much over. 1 more round of combat. Outstanding. So here's bottom of 3 after movement. His Kardashian charged my Mutalith, and I decided to flee from that because I choose life. His Bleak Swords turn to face the future charge from my Knights. His Dark Riders run over, 1 unit of his Dark Riders run over to harass, Ashicus and his roadies, start whittling that unit down to try to kill off my magic phase. And his other unit runs over to hopefully get another 1 rolled on my Blasted Standard with my Knights. So yeah. Yep, there's a better picture of the beast. He not only does he flee from the Kardashian, but he gets away, which is rare. Whenever I flee from stuff, it catches me. Right here, during his magic phase, he's able to dispel enfeebled foe, which is a bummer, but he did have to use power dice in order to do it, and that's big. Especially when you've got a supreme sorcerer in the unit and a unit of warlocks, you know what I mean? During his shooting phase, his what's it called? His Dark Riders kill 3 of Ashicus's roadies, but that's fine. There's still, what, 7 to go, so I'm fine with that. And then in combat, I issue a challenge. His Death Hag has to accept. She does. Well, she doesn't have to accept. He accepts with the Death Hag. And my Demon Prince is easily able to eat the Hag for lunch. And that's pretty much what happens. He grabs her with his pincer, puts him in his big old mouth, crunches her down, and when she makes her ward saves, other Trickster Shard stops her from living, which is good. Over here, Fune finishes off the last bolt thrower and turns to face the Warlocks because I either want to catch them or make them flee. And over here, Tardum slaughters more of the ladies, making all of his armor saves and everything that they put on him. They are still steadfast, they stick around, but I pretty much got this one next round. So here's top of 4 after movement, and Fune does end up charging the Warlocks. They flee and get away. They flee through the Beast because it's before he rallies, so they don't take any dangerous terrain or anything like that, but they do bounce through and get away. My Warriors charge his Executioners and make it, and my Knights charge his Bleak Swords with his Lord in there and make that as well. So all in all, it's looking pretty good. My Marauders move away from the Dark Riders. On hindsight, I should have turned to face them because if they had charged the rear of that unit, I'd have been in trouble. But yeah, that's pretty much what the board looks like. Well, that's exactly what the board looks like after top of 4. There's a better picture of the Warriors slamming into the Executioners, coming in. I don't want them to be steadfast anymore. I want them to break. I want them to die, and I want to see how the Warriors do against Executioners. Well, in the flank Executioners anyway. There's my Knights with Lady Elizabeth slamming into the Bleak Swords because it's time for him to not have a level 4 caster anymore. The Beast does end up rallying, and he turns to face the Warlocks. During the magic phase, I think I am able to kill, I know I am able to kill one of them, and I think I make them cause fear or something like that for the rest of the game. But yeah, 1 Warlock dies to the Beast spell, which is awesome. Over here in combat, Lady Elizabeth has to issue a challenge. She gets the unit champion. She kills the unit champion. Meanwhile, the Knights weather all the attacks because it's only strength 3. They kill a whole bunch of Bleak Swords. They're steadfast. They stay. However, I got a spawn. Yeah. Makes a return. And I just put him right there behind the Bleak Swords because I'm not sure if I'm going to put him into the Bleak Swords or into the Executioners or what. But I have a free spawn on the table, and I absolutely love that. That's the reason that I take that sort of change for turning unit champions into 50-point rare choices. However, the Executioners do put 2 wounds through on the Demon Prince. Actually, they put 1 wound on the Demon Prince. The Demon Blade puts another. The Warriors, I only lose 1. The unit champion issues a challenge. Talaris accepts. He puts 3 wounds through on my unit champion, and he makes all of his armor and parry saves, which was retarded insane good luck. So I was very happy about that. My opponent was not. Understandably. All the other attacks that they were able to put on me, only 1 got through and killed a guy. The Demon Prince and the Warrior combo killed a bunch of the Executioners. They were not steadfast. Even with the reroll, they fled, and I believe my Demon Prince rolled boxcars to pursue, and the unit is dead. And as you can see right here, this is what the table looked like at the end of the game. At this point, my opponent is like, listen, I need to take this list back and redo it. I'm just going to go ahead and call it. We shook hands, and he cursed the day I was born. So it worked out. You know, I got to kill a bunch of elves, made an enemy for life, and no, it was cool. He learned a lot. He learned a lot about what does work, what doesn't work. He learned a bunch of the rules. He learned our meta. Stuff like that. So I think the next game that I have against him is going to be a lot. I know the next game I have against him is going to be a lot different. But yeah, it was a good game, fun game, and you know what? We'll get to that in just 1 second. Quick timeout. Banners, banners, banners. Get you some banners. I know you want the banners. I know you see the banners. I know you can't live without the banners. So why are you trying? Send this guy an email. Go check him out on Facebook. He's got a ton of banners, all sorts of different designs, all sorts of shapes and sizes. Everything you could think of, he's got them on his Facebook's page. But if you do think of something that he hasn't, hit him up with an email, contact him on Facebook, and be like, hey, had an idea for a banner, looks like blah, what do you think? And I guarantee he's probably going to like the idea, he's probably going to want to try the idea, and he's going to be able to quote you an idea in case you want that idea in the physical form, in your hands, in your army. Get yourself a banner. It's totally worth it. Totally more than, you're going to pay more for gas than you're going to pay for a banner. So go ahead, send him an email, check him out on Facebook, get a banner. You won't regret it. Token time. That's right. Wound counters, augments counters, hex counters, potion counters, status effects, status ailments, mutilus spells, eye of the gods, anything you need, anything that you can think of, anything that you would need to put a marker down next to. The comet, the flame spire phoenix when it's dead, that little phoenix counter so you know where it pulses out from. Everything that you can think of. Not only does she make tokens for it, but she makes them dirt cheap. Please do yourself a favor. Send her an email. Find out, tell her what kind of tokens you need. Doesn't matter the game system. Doesn't matter, how many you need. Just tell her, and she'll hook you up with a price. There's probably not going to be any more than $10. The only stipulation is no overseas. If you don't live in America, please don't order from her. The shipping costs are astronomical. She ships them out to one of the listeners. Thank you so much for that. But it was like $30 to ship it overseas. It's just, I guess if you're okay with that, send her an email. But oh wow, shipping costs are insane. But if you live in America and you want some badass tokens, send her an email. Get yourself some tokens. You won't regret it. But yeah, after all was said and done, it was a victory for Lord Tremendous. Kinda. It was his first game in 3 years. It was a list that he had to change at the very last second. That he chose to change. Let me make that very clear. I said I was fine with it. He wanted to change things up. But he's ended up surrendering in top of 4. So yeah, technically it's a win for me. But I see it more as a training game. And he asked me to do, or he said it was fine if I did the what's it called, the battle report, and I'm not going to pass up a chance to do a battle report because I enjoy doing them. In the end, though, I ended up just losing to Warhounds. Everything else survived. The Dark Elves lost everything because he surrendered, and I'm sorry, but the way we play is when you surrender, your whole army explodes. But again, my opponent has not played Fantasy in 3 years. He's coming back into it. I think he's enjoying it. I think he's excited about the new Dark Elf book, especially. I do know that I'm going to play him again this weekend, so I have no doubt that the next battle report that I do with him as my opponent will be much closer, if not a total, face pounding for me, because he's a quick learner. And like I said, he's one of the guys that taught me how to play way back when I first started, like 7 years ago. I did tell him, like I said, before the game started, I did not have to go full force. I didn't have to record the battle. I didn't have to do a battle report. But he said he wanted me to. And, you got to respect that. The guy knew, he'd been out of it for a while, and he was like, no, damn that, let's play. Which is cool. So, yeah, they got to respect him for that, right? He also, like I said already, he did change his list at the last minute. So it wasn't an optimal list. His list was originally designed around Hellebron. So changing it up at the last second was definitely a huge handicap for him. So don't judge him too harshly on this one. I love the fact that he took 40 Executioners. If I played Dark Elves, I would have that as a staple in my army with the Cauldron in there just so they'd have Frenzy at all times. The fact that Talaris was in there was kind of big. Yeah, very, very cool list. I love the new character kits I'm using. My army, the way it's all working out, I like the way it feels, I like the way it flows. I know I've said it before, but it's true. I really do like them. My Chaos Knights rock. Elizabeth got me a spawn. I love free spawn. That's one of my favorite things about my army. I can get free spawn. Big charge. Few needing a 10 to hit that bolt thrower and making it. That was massive. But yeah, so far, I mean, granted, is the first time I've tried out this list. I'm really enjoying it. Having the watered down Demon Prince and the Sorcerer Lord is totally worth it. I'm not as afraid to lose either of them because I'm not going to lose everything by losing one. It's going to hurt. It's supposed to hurt, but it's kind of cool to have that split up. You know, it's more expensive this way. It'd be cheaper to just take the Demon Prince level 4, yada yada yada. But I really like this. I like having the Lore Shadow. I like having, the bunker of Marauders, Ashikis's roadies. I'm enjoying that. So I'm thinking that this might be the list I go with. Well, I'm going to try some more games with it. We'll see. You know how fickle I am, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. But yeah, it was a good game. I did enjoy it. My opponent actually taught me the game 7 years ago, so it was really cool. It was kind of nostalgic for me to be able to play against this guy. I know I call him the angry guy. That's an inside joke, and if you're not inside, well, come meet us and we'll probably tell you about it. But he's not really an angry guy. He laughs a lot. So don't let this game be the precedent, though, for our games. Trust me, our rematches are going to be so brutal. I can't wait. Because once this guy gets a few more practice games under his belt and really, figures out his new book, oh my God, I'll be lucky to kill one of his units. I can't wait. I cannot wait. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for Battle Report 59. I hope you enjoyed the new list. I hope you enjoyed the game. I love killing elves, so you know I enjoyed it. But yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comments section below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.